What if I told you that you can build an application where users can simply type that they need a room for 4 people from a given date to a given date, and the user is asking for certain details with the amenities that are available, and your application can automatically search every available rooms and filter it by capacity, find the rooms with the relevant details like amenities and then the price and things like that. It checks against the live database and it retrieves the relevant information and generates a complete natural language response which anyone can understand, all using plain English. No buttons or no complex navigation here and no predefined workflows. This is the power of agentic applications in Oracle Apex 26.1. We'll be building this particular application from scratch.
Welcome back to my channel Into the Oracleverse, where we learn about Oracle SQL, PL SQL, and Apex. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Before we begin, a quick note. This video is intentionally beginner friendly. I am going to start by explaining the concepts that are involved with this AI agent in detail so that everyone can follow along, even if you are completely new to AI agents. However, if you are already familiar with the concepts and just want to jump directly into the implementation, I have added detailed chapters throughout the video. So feel free to skip to the sections that interest you. This is going to be a fairly big project, so think of this as part one of a larger series. In this video, we'll focus on understanding AI agents and building our first working resort booking assistant. In part two, we'll take this much further and implement things like room booking, booking cancellation, viewing our booked room details, and additional AI tools, multi-tool orchestration, etc. And we'll also look at how to optimize our prompt better and several other advanced agentic patterns. So make sure you are subscribed because this project is going to get really interesting. One additional thing, so I know AI can sometimes feel overwhelming because of terms like LLMs, embeddings, vectors, RAG, agents, MCP, prompt engineering, etc. So let me know in the comments whether you like a dedicated beginner-friendly series explaining the AI concept that every Oracle Apex developer or every Oracle database developer should know. If enough people are interested, I'll prioritize making a complete AI fundamental series that bridges these concepts with the new AI features available in Oracle database as well as in Oracle Apex. To keep this video focused on AI agents and AI tools, I won't be covering how to configure AI service providers. That is going to be the primary prerequisite which is needed. So I won't be covering it, but I have already covered it in earlier video, and I'll add that video's link or I'll add the video to this info section. If you haven't configured your AI provider yet, pause this video, watch the relevant AI configurator setup video, and then you can come back here and continue. Before we build the agentic application, let's first understand what an AI agent is or what an AI agentic application is. So an agentic application is an application that can understand a goal, understand what the user needs, and then it would reason about it. It would plan the relevant steps, and then it would remember the context. It would make decisions and things like that. And it would look at all the tools that are available, and then it would choose the relevant tools, and then it would execute the tools. And based on the output that comes based on the tool's execution, it would decide what to do, and then either it will go for another tool call, or else it would actually frame the response and send it back to the user in a much readable format. And hence, in short, we can say that an AI agent is the combination of an AI model's brilliance along with the capabilities of the tools or the codes that are available with which it would be able to act on the underlying database, and it would also be able to decide based on the results that it obtained based on the tool execution. So that is the AI agent's definition. Now, let us look at the actual working part of an AI agent step by step. So first, the user would be providing his or her request. So that would be the initial step, which would start this AI agentic workflow. So for example, now with the resort room booking concept, the user might be providing a prompt like this, where he or she needs a room for 4 people, and they would be needing private pool, and then they would want to know all the activities that are available. So this particular user's request in their natural language would provide us the initial driving force for this agentic pipeline. And once this is sent to the AI model, so the AI model would then reason. So it would break down the actual goal. So there are a lot of things that are provided here. So there is a people filter that would be needed, and there is a day which is so next weekend, and then it is we should also filter it based on the private pools availability, and finally we should also show all the activities that are available based on the room that would be available. So there are lots and lots of things that need to be done. So it would be breaking the complex goal into multiple smaller steps, and then it would try and achieve each of the individual steps. And now the next part is one of the most important part. So here we have the AI agent determine which tool to use. So this tool creation is also something that we would be doing as a part of this AI agent development. This tool is we can just consider it as the hands, eyes, or legs. So if we have to compare human analogy with it, and the brain would be the actual AI model. So the brain decides to. So for example, if I have to retrieve some information from the database, definitely I would be running a select query on the database, right? So that AI agent would know, or it would decide what it should do. So it would choose this eyes to look up the database, and then it would take it up. Now if it has to insert something, now hands come into play, where it would type the code and then run it and things like that. So that would be the perfect analogy, or that is one best analogy with which we would be able to understand the actual involvement of the AI model as well as the tools within this particular AI agent. And now so initially all the available tools would be provided to the brain or the AI model, so that it can decide which tool it needs to use. So it would use either two tools in a serial manner, or it will use three tool in parallel manner. So there are several other concepts which we would be looking into at a later point. For now, let's just think of it like we are serving it with all the tools that are available, and based on the user's input, it would actually decide which tool to use for attaining that particular goal. So that is going to be the tools selection part. And once it identifies the tool, it has to execute it. So for example, if I need to retrieve information from database, so I'll have to write a select query. So that identification will come in this third step. And once I identify that the select statement should be executed, I'll have to execute it in the database. So that execution would be the next part, where that particular tool would be executed. And now, if I execute that particular tool, if I run a select query on the database, so I would be getting some results as a response, right? So that response would be sent back to the model. So we'll retrieve, the AI agent would retrieve that information, and based on that particular information, it would decide whether it has to go with another tool call, or whether it has to start framing the response. So for example, if I just ask it for an availability, it is going to look for the available rooms with a single select statement, and that would be sufficient to achieve that goal. So based on that response, it would just frame the response, and then it would give it or it would respond to the actual user. Or else, if I'll have to get that particular room, and then if I have to run another select query to show the results or something, show or to get the activities or something like that, we'll have this agent would know that, okay, now I know all the rooms that are available, let me check for the particular activities that are available for those rooms. So this is how the AI model, or the brain of that AI agent would act, and how the body, the tools of that particular AI agent would come into play. So with that, finally, the user would get the actual response that he would be needing. That is the actual AI agentic workflow. And then one good thing about Oracle Apex is, so with this AI agent configuration, we need not provide all these, or we need not write code for all these things. Rather, everything is coming in out of the box. We just have to just set up some configuration, so that we are providing the relevant tools, and then we are providing the relevant prompts and the relevant guidelines to the AI model, so that it knows what it needs to do. Now there are several places where this AI agentic workflow can be used. So in places like resort booking, customer support, and then help desk related things, project management, and there are several other areas as well. So we would be able to incorporate this in a much easier way in all the workflows that we have. But should we use it in all the applications? No. So we can avoid using AI when the workflow is extremely simple, or when each step is deterministic. So here AI, it is not determined. So based on the user's query, the actual arrangement of the plan that we have would vary. We would, if it is deterministic, if we have to go in a single flow all the time, then at that moment we won't be needing this reasoning engine in between. And we need to avoid it if the natural language adds no value, because that is going to be the core driving force, which would be the input as well as the output, the response from the AI agent. And then if the application is just a simple visualization layer, or if it is just a simple data addition part or data updation report or something like that, at that moment we shouldn't try and stuff this AI agent in. We just have to go with the actual out of the box features, like interactive reports or interactive grids and things like that. Now that we know what an AI agentic workflow is, so now we'll see how to incorporate that within Oracle Apex. Now we have seen all these things. So I'll add this blog's link in the video's description as well, so that you would be able to know a bit more about all the things that I have explained so far. And yes, so here this is going to be the solutions architecture. We would have the actual user who would be using this particular application to provide the context. And once that context is provided, we would have an AI assistant in place, and it would actually get that particular user's prompt and it would send it to the AI agent. Now, this AI agent would look at that particular prompt and it would decide whether any tools need to be used. So for that, we would be creating the relevant tools. So yeah, so that is going to be done in upcoming steps. And then, so for tools, we would be using certain PL/SQL APIs, or we will be using certain PL/SQL functions to do that. So in this particular example, I would be using a function with which I'd be retrieving the values of the records of the rooms that are available, along with the other activities and other metadata. And that would be executed on top of an Oracle database. So this is going to be the entire solution stack. So everything is natively available within Oracle Apex 26.1, and hence the implementation is very straightforward. So now let's get started. And yes, so the implementation begins now. First, we'll need all the relevant database objects. So I would be creating three tables, one to store the resort rooms, and another to create the booking related, or store the booking related details, another to store all the activities associated. So let me copy these three and let me run it. So now I have created these three tables, and the next step would be to insert some sample data within the tables that we have created. So to do that, let me just copy this, and then let me also copy this, and I'll create a SQL script to do this job. So I have 7 SQLs. I'll just run it. Yes, so let me just execute it. Yes, so the data is processed right now. So I have relevant records within the resort room and within the resort activity. So I have not inserted the data into resort booking yet. We'll look into that at a later point. Now let me navigate back to my blog post. Yes. So next part, we would have to set up the data passing function. This is quite important because within the agentic application, we would not have a separate data type called date. So we would only be able to use glob or varchar2 or the integer, the number. So to incorporate date and to better handle it, so we would have to come up with some intermediate function. So this is not mandatory, but this is a good to have function with which we would be able to minimize the errors that would come during the runtime. This is still an optional part, but I'll include that in my particular workflow. So the function has been created. Now let me go ahead and let me create another function. So this is going to be a tool which we would be creating. So we would create the search room functionality, and so this particular searching, or so AI agent would be using this particular function to interact with the database. So right now, let me create it and I'll explain it further when we actually get into that particular part. Yes, so the function has been created. So now I have created the date parser as well as the function with which we would be able to search the rooms. So within this particular function, we would have three input parameters: the check-in date, the checkout date, as well as the number of guests who would be visiting that particular resort. And then, so the date which would be coming in as an input. So here it would be in varchar, and we would have that function which we have created earlier to pass it as a date. And once it is done, so we are going to check it against the resort rooms that are available, and the availability depends on the things that are not booked. So we would be looking into the data from the resort booking table, and then we would apply this not exist, so that we would remove all those from the search results. That is how this particular function works. And now let's go ahead with the next step, where we'll have to configure the actual AI agent and the AI tool. So the first step would be creating the AI agent, and then we will be creating the AI tool. So let me go to this particular application that I have, and let me go to yeah, the app builder. So this is a pretty new page that I have. So first, let's create the agent, and then we'll create the UI element to invoke that agent. This is the shared components of this particular application, and we have a generative AI section here, within which we would be able to see AI agents. Now, I have nothing here, so we are going to create this from scratch. So let me click the create button. Yes. So first it is asking us for an identification. So let me just provide the name resort booking assistant. And then we have this generative AI section. So here we can see two options. So either I can provide it as application default. Now, if I provide it as application default, then the AI service which is tagged to this particular application would come into play. So to find that or to set that, we'll have to go to the application definition, and then here we have this AI, right? So you'll have to click this, and then here you will be able to see the service that is associated with that particular application. So yes, so by providing this, even if we have like 4 to 5 different services for a given workspace, we would be able to set a given AI service provider for a given application within that particular workspace. Or else we can also leave it as default. So that is up to us. So yes, so that is the thing or one another thing that we have. Let me go back to the shared components, and let me go back to the AI agents, and let me continue with the creation. Yes, so for now, I'll go with the application default itself, or we can even click this. So both are the same because I have provided this particular service as application default. Yes, so now here we'll have to provide the system prompt. This system prompt is quite important as this is going to be the actual driving force of this particular agent. Based on the system prompt, this AI agent would be able to work as intended. So this would be providing the actual context to that particular AI agent on how to approach a given problem, or yeah, how to come up with a solution and things like that. So right now I have provided the prompt as this. So I am asking it to act like an AI assistant for a luxury resort, and I am also providing it with the certain functionality. So right now I am limiting it to just searching the available rooms and providing the recommendations and explaining the amenities that are present. But apart from, we would be able to expand it, and we would be expanding it in the upcoming days. So yes, so to begin with, we will just create one tool for now. And yes, so I am asking it to explicitly use tools, else it would sometime hallucinate. So yes, and then I am asking it not to assume the room availability. So that it should always use the tools, find the actual detail or find the actual data during the runtime at that given moment, and then it has to come up with the actual phrasing. And finally, right now I am providing an explicit thing with regards to the search room part, where I am providing that the check-in should be in this particular format and checkout should be in this particular format. So since we are dealing with the dates here, it is very easy for us to get deviated or for us to get runtime errors when the format varies or when certain things change. So that's why I am providing it well explicitly over here within the system prompt. And there are some other places where we can actually provide this, and I'll let you know that about that in a moment. And then yes, so before it recommends any room, it has to search it from the database. It has to identify the available rooms, and then it has to recommend it. So we have provided how to come up with, or how to look into the database, and how to come up with a good solution for the user's query. And when you are writing system prompt, so you'll have to write it in such a way that AI is not, so we'll have to set up guardrails. So this is we call these as guardrails, which would act as a boundary, or which would act as a fence, so that AI always goes through this layer. It is not hallucinating. It is actually extracting data from the database, and it is answering to our queries. And yes, so once it is done, the next section is welcome message. So once once this agent is created, we would be invoking this particular agent through an AI assistant window. I'll show that in a moment. But once we click that, so a chatbot like thing would appear. So within the chatbot, what should be the welcome message? So now, for now, I can just provide it as, hey there, how can I help you? I think this should do for now. And we have the response format here. So should it be text or should it be a JSON? So right now I need it to respond to me back in a natural language. So let me have it as text. And here we have an advanced features, static ID. Here we can provide the static ID for this particular agent. So we can provide some unique value here, booking assistant. And temperature, so right now we leave it as blank, but the actual concept behind this, so the temperature we would be able to set it from 0 to 1, and base the higher temperature would increase the creativity of that particular model. And if the temperature is near 0, it would provide the actual factual information. So if we need creativity in place, so we would be setting the temperature higher, or if we need a standard response, a factual response from here, so we would set it low. For now, let's leave it as blank. We'll look into this particular temperatures effect in a later video. Let me just click create. Yes, so now I have created the first AI agent in this particular workspace. Now I can see that there is a new section here called tools. So now we'll have to extend this AI agent, or we'll have to provide additional tools to this particular AI agent so that it can act brilliantly. So first we'll have to click this. add tool. And now, yes, so we can see this particular page. So this is the place where we would be defining that particular AI tool. So first we'll have to provide a name. So even if we type it with the caps lock enabled, it would still come as lowercase. So that is a mandatory thing. And I would suggest you to have it like this. So search availability with underscore in between. So let's not leave any spaces like this. It would be better if we have underscore. So yes, so right now I have that particular feature in place. Right now I have named it as search availability, and then I have the type. So within type we have execute client side code, server side code, and retrieve data. So for now we'll go with retrieve data because we are going to search for the available rooms. And then when should it be executed? Should it be executed as an augment system prompt? So we'll look into this at a later point. So right now we'll execute this particular part on demand. So if it is augment system prompt, whenever that particular AI, the chatbot is initialized, so it would be executed. So right now we just need it to be called if needed. So we'll just have it as on demand. We can provide a description to this particular tool. So this description would enable the AI model to actually select this if needed. Let me provide a description like this. So the model would be able to search available rooms and provide room recommendations, and then it would be able to explain amenities with the data which would be retrieved from here. And then we have a particular section called parameters. So this is where we would be able to add the input parameters that are associated with it. So as we have seen earlier, so this is the function which we are going to use, or which we are going to tag here with this particular tool. So there are three inputs. So we have check-in, check-out, and guest. So I'll just add it. Yes. So now I can provide this as number. So apart from that, we also have Boolean, with which we be able to type yes or no actually. And here we will be able to provide a list of allowed values. So right now we can't provide any allowed values here because we are not limiting things with respect to dates or something like that. So if we have a particular options available, so if I am going to choose three different room types or something like that, I can actually provide those three values here so that the model would be able to know what are the parameters that can be passed. So right now we leave it as blank. We have added all these three parameters which are provided in this particular function. So the next step is to add that particular function. So first we'll add the data description. So this would describe the data that would be sent. So let me just add all these three. And then the next type would be, so right now we are using functions. So we can go ahead with the function body, choose this, and let me paste it here. And I'll click validate to see if it is looking fine, and it is looking fine. One important thing that you have to note is you have to check whether these two things are matching. If there is a deviation, it will throw error during the runtime. So you have to ensure that this value is the same. Yes, so it is the same. So now should user approve it for tool call? So whenever if you are using Cloud Code or something like that, so whenever there is a particular command which needs to be executed, or whenever there is an edit needed on a particular file, so it would be prompting the user for approving that particular action. So do we need it here? I don't think we would be needing it in this particular case. So we'll turn it off, or we'll have it as default one here. But we'll look into its use case in a different part. And then yes, so we'll leave everything as such. And yes, so right now we'll just create this. Changes are saved, and now we have an AI agent which would be able to search the rooms and then provide recommendation on the rooms, and then based on the user's requirement. And we have one particular tool which would be available for the model to call on demand. With which it would be able to identify the rooms that are available. And yes, so now everything is set in the backend. So let us go back here and let us go to that particular description, or that particular architecture. So we have the user here. I'm going to be the user, and then we have the AI agent created with the relevant tools, and we have the relevant function in place. And yes, it is present in the Oracle database, and it is ready to pull the value. But before it pulls, so first let's check whether the tool is working fine. So this particular tool is nothing but a particular PL SQL function. So as you have seen, we are just going to, or we have just added a particular function, this particular function to that particular tool. So it is very easy for us to validate. So if executing this particular function is going to provide us a good value, then definitely that tool call shouldn't have any issues. So we would be able to search, or we would be able to validate it like this. And here I can see the actual values coming in without any errors as a single JSON. So yes, so we can be 100% sure that this particular tool would work well. Now let's go to that architecture board again. And yes, so we have everything in place except for one particular part, the AI assistant. So creating that is very easy with Oracle Apex, with other coding platforms or with other native coding languages. So we would have to write several blocks of code, but here it's very simple. So I'll just have to just choose the relevant place in which I'll invoke it through a button call, and then I'll call it as maybe booking assistant for now. Yes. And now let me also create a trigger action. So it's similar to dynamic action. And now within this, we can see that we have a section called A, and underneath it, we have show AI assistant. And once we choose it, so here we can see a particular section called generative AI, and here we can see the particular agent that we can tag to this particular AI assistant. So I'll choose the resort booking assistant. And right now, since it is a complete search which would be done on the database, so there would be no data input from the user. So I would leave this blank, and then so it would come within a dialog. And yes, so if there are any initial prompt and other things that need to be set, so we can actually set it. The rest of the things would look similar. So I already have a particular video on this particular AI assistant related dynamic action in place. So I'll also add it in the info section. So you can actually look into it for a detailed walkthrough on all these aspects. And now we have everything in place. So let me just run it. Yes, so I have a button here. Now let's check if it is working fine. So as you can see here, we can see the actual welcome message. And let me go back over there and let me take a sample prompt. So I'm asking it to show available rooms for 2 guests, and we have 3 expected results. Let's see if it is working fine. Yes, so we have the 3 expected results here. Now let's search for a particular room for 4 people, and we'll see if it is able to filter out the other thing, this particular room which accommodates 2 people. So now, yes, so it is able to filter it. So it is working fine. Let me provide a prompt like this where I am asking it to book us or see if any luxury rooms are available with a private pool. And yes, so the Royal Villa is available. So it is able to come up with that particular response. And we are able to see that it matches whatever we have here. So now I am prompting it like this. I am asking it to, I'm providing a context stating that I have family of 4 members who love swimming. What room can I book? So if I provide an input like this, it will be able to provide a good output. So the family suite is a great option because it has a capacity of 4 guests, and then it has access to pool. So it would be able to reason, and it would be able to identify what we have asked. So in other cases, so it is able to understand what I need, and then it was able to reason the things. It was able to select the actual tool which was available, and it was able to get that particular value from the database. It was able to execute the tool call, and it was able to respond back in a good way which I can understand easily. So it was able to respond in natural language. So now we'll go a bit further. So right now I haven't booked anything, and hence all the available rooms are shown here. We'll have to know whether the tool calls are made every turn, right? So what I'll do is I'll book a room for now using our SQL query. Now I'll execute certain SQL statements with which I'll be able to block the garden deluxe room. So I have executed it. And now I can come back here, and let me provide the actual prompt which I provide initially. Yes. So since the garden deluxe is booked, ideally it shouldn't show up, and we can see that it is not showing up. So yes, so we can even confirm that it is working well. There is one more feature which would be able to with which we will be able to validate the tool calls that are being made, and I have explained it in one of the videos before. I'll just give a short context, but I have explained it in a much better way in the other video. So here we'll be using this request handler procedure and this response handler procedure, with which we will be able to tap all the logs or all the tool calls that are being made and all the responses that are going in and coming through, and we would be able to track the tokens as well. So this I have explained it in the other video. I'll add that in the info section as well. So this is the tool, the agentic framework that we have built, with which now a particular user would be able to see all the available available rooms which would suit his needs. And what right now it is just searching the rooms, but we can also extend it to book the rooms, cancel the bookings, and yeah, so we would be able to do much more things, and we would be doing it in the upcoming days. With this, we would be able to infer that Oracle Apex 26.1 is a massive step forward. For the first time, Oracle Apex developers can build applications that just don't display the data. They can understand the intent, reason, take actions, interact with the live business data, and then provide the response in a good way. This is not just another chatbot. This is beginning of a truly agentic applications built entirely with Oracle Apex and with PL SQL. I hope you like this, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you learn something new or find what you are looking for, please give it a like. It really helps the channel. I'd also love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to drop a comment below. And if you are interested in more content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again in the next video.